So I have a question regarding loss. It's interesting how we come together in relationships and life and family, and it's so beautiful coming together, and it gets so familiar communing and being close with one another. And then as we go apart through death or through splitting up or just distance, there's always, even with the people who are really steeped in this work, it seems like there's always some pain of that sadness, of that loss, that missing.
We're trying to help you get over that, and the reason for it. We want to hear more from you if you've got more. But the reason that the thing that we really want you to hear about that is that most people have been looking for love in all the wrong places. They've been looking for security in all the wrong places. They've been looking to others to buoy them and complete them. And so then when something happens, in other words, you can't control what others do, then sometimes you feel like a puppet who has been let go, they've let go of your strings, and now you don't have any support for a little while. But when you get it, that all this that you're looking for, when you're having a wonderful relationship with someone, it's not what you think it is. In other words, when you're adoring someone, the reason that it feels so wonderful is because in your adoration of them, you are in agreement with your source about them. So it's sort of like when you say to someone, I love you, what you're really saying is, I love you, and since my inner being loves you, then I am not providing any disconnection between myself and my inner being as I hold you as my object of attention. When you say to someone, I hate you, you make me feel bad, what you're really saying is, I'm not looking at you as my inner being looks at you, so I'm using you as my excuse to disconnect from who I really am. So when you get everything into that context, so that you are looking for your alignment first, you are looking for your vortex first, you're caring about how you feel first, then your relationships all become very healthy relationships, because now you're not depending on someone else for the way you feel. And when you think about it, those are the most delicious relationships of all, because the worst relationship in the world is to say, how I feel is dependent upon something that you do. So you need to be or do this thing in order for me to feel good. And so it leaves you feeling vulnerable because you can't control them, and it leaves them feeling bondage because they feel like they are responsible for the way you feel. And that is the primary reason that most relationships don't work, because it just doesn't feel good to carry all of that baggage around. When you finally get it, that you can feel good because you have the ability to come into alignment with who you really are no matter what, then you are free from all of that bondage, and then all of your relationships can be the delicious ones that they are meant to be.
Right.
You are moving through this life experience as individuals, but you are never alone. And you are not alone because you have the resource of source with you, but you are also never alone because in connecting with the resource of source, then there are all these manifestational rendezvous moment by moment by moment by moment by moment, so that things are interesting, so that life is full and fun, you see.
Yes, but these rendezvous with these people, it almost seems like they're teachers that are supposed to come in and then...
Everyone, every time. But what are they teaching you? They're teaching you what your point of attraction is. They're also mixing it up with you so that you can put more sophisticated desires into your vortex. There is never a relationship, no matter how brief or how long, that isn't part of your becoming.
Right. It's almost like a custom-made classroom, and when you love somebody.
Well, those deep relationships have the most meaning because you contribute so much more to your vortex about them. But every relationship serves you in that way, yes.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that when people, like my mom just lost my dad, he just moved on, and she's like dealing with it so well. I mean, she has her sadness, but it's like she's really exemplifying how we are built to let people go and move on in a beautiful way.
Well, we think it's good news that no one is surprised that you're not sticking around forever. In other words, it's sort of what everyone knows. It's one of those two things, death and taxes, that you're pretty sure about.
Yeah.
And so of course, it's something that everyone is aware of. But what we're wanting, and we think you're saying it too, is that while it certainly is something that everyone should not be surprised about, it also is something that almost no one ever is ready for or no one ever wants, because you have often placed your dependency for joy upon your relationship with others. And it's a lovely, you see, here's the way we would do it if we were standing in your physical shoes. Because we think it is lovely to love. We think it is lovely to be in love. We think it is lovely to want to be with people. We think it is lovely to want to continue life experience with one another. We think it is lovely to want long, deep, rich relationships with people. All of that. We're not trying to talk you out of having these really meaningful, intimate, delicious relationships, because that's all a fabulous part of life. But when the relationship is necessary for the vortex, then it's backwards. When you get into the vortex and the vortex then creates the relationship, that's the harmony. That's the deliciousness that you're looking for.